What's up, guys? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. I am out here live posting for today. I've been getting a lot of people asking me questions about different books I've read, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of like rummaging through the house trying to find like what are all the books I used to read because there's so many books I've started reading when I first started becoming an entrepreneur, started changing my mindset, really getting into it, like becoming more and more being self-employed and starting to run my own business. And so if you want to be prepared to set yourself up to run your own business, you need to get your mind right. So I'm actually going to take some time and talk about a couple books that I'm either currently reading or books I've read in the past that have really helped me out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. There's a lot of books I can just go into. I was just taking some time thinking about this whole entire this video I wanted to make, and I was like, I need to start getting a habit just recording, just me walking around. When I do my morning rants, I flood out so much stuff and so much information. Like, I wish I just recorded that, but it's really funny. So anyway, today, one of the books I always tell people whenever you're first getting started, there's two books I always recommend to people to get started when you're trying to change your mindset from that of the E quadrant versus you moving to the E, the S, the B, and the I. In fact, I might make that another video as breaking down what is the cash flow quadrant. If you've ever heard of that before, awesome, then you're already a step above a lot of people already. But if you haven't, I might take some time to actually break that down. That's a thing that Robert Kiyosaki talks about. And I'm a huge advocate for Robert because he's so good for helping people get them out of the stepping stones. So kind of like, I don't know what to do over here, and I want to start moving over into maybe running my own business, maybe becoming a business owner, maybe an entrepreneur, whatever you're looking to do. He's so good at breaking down and helping you get that first step going. But he's not a person that get like, if I'm trying to read this book to learn how to do this stuff, he's about getting you educated, you using your brain and figuring it out. So that's one thing I like about it. It's like, give me the tools so I can figure out how to use them. But one of the books I always recommend from Robert Kiyosaki is of course, his first book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Or if you haven't read that book, I recommend this one, The Cashflow Quadrant. As you can tell, I'm finishing up right now. I'm in the do section in the book because a lot of his books he ends off and he always talks about, okay, now that you've read this information, now it's time for you to start taking action. Let's start seeing you implement some of these skills and start, bringing your life into the way you want to. So I'm taking my time to finish this last one because I don't want to just read the book and not apply it. That's a critical thing that I feel like a lot of people tend to do. We just run through books, but we don't actually apply what the books that come into play. I'm not a big fiction reader. I don't really like fiction books. They're cool, they're enjoyable. Like I tried going through the Harry Potter series. I went through the first book. I think I'm like in chapter like 3 or 4 in the second book. I'm like, I'll just watch a movie. For me, it just doesn't get me going. But I love books that help me with applications that I can apply in my real world every single day. So the Cashflow Quadrant by Rich Dad or any books from Robert Kiyosaki is great. You just check out him as an author because for me, I like how he brings the stories into play that brings the points, and bringing all the points together. Another book I always mention other than the Cashflow Quadrant or other than Rich Dad, Poor Dad is another one by Dave Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big. This was actually one of the first books that we got when I was part of my first multi-level marketing business. When you got in part of the educational system that was connected to the business, the first book they give you when you first open the pack is this bad boy. You're getting yourself up there because the first thing you need to do becoming a business entrepreneur or anything, or you becoming a business owner, is you need to change your mind. You're going to start seeing a lot of books I have here that I'm going to be talking about that have a lot of points about thinking. It's all about how you change your thinking. Without this changing, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say to you. Another one, I actually got my mom reading this book right now. I've already gone through this one, but this is by John Maxwell, How Successful People Think. Great book. He has a whole entire series. If you've never heard of John Maxwell, you need to step it up. He's a really great author, and two, he's really good for not only just economics and business, but he's really good about changing mindset and helping out that. He's really cool because he's a pretty nice author. I like a lot of books he has there. I have a few other books that he has. He has like this whole entire series that he goes through. But the reason I like his books and some of his books that small, it's great to have a book that's about this big versus me taking a book that's like the size of like an encyclopedia. They were one of my books I used for school back in the day. Because of that gets intimidating. So having a nice small book that you can carry around with you and like, okay, I'm gonna just open it up, read it, and then go right back to my life is great. It keeps your knowledge base going. So that was one. A on top of reading The Magic of Thinking Big, another book that started me off too when I was running my own business, because my first business I was a part of was primarily people. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to help them out with creating more money online, etc. Originally I was doing it through a product base, like different sales and goods and products. I used to be a part of Amway and BWW. Great company. Love them. But one of the things, the books I really liked the most that helped me out was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Guys, let me go ahead and state this right now. I was just talking to one of my buddies last night because I was hanging out with some friends, and I was like, I think what cracks me up the most about people in this day and age, we don't know the art of talking to people. Like, we don't know how to ask questions that gets them to, get them to pull out answers and get them to get engaged. I always joke a lot of my friends that always want to start talking to me like, okay, so what do you do? What do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, we're asking the adult questions, aren't we? And I joke to them all the time because we just do that by default. We don't know how to communicate to people. Well, it's so funny because in this book, How to Win Friends and Influence, he talks about what are some of the basic skills that you learn about when you're talking to people. It's kind of funny how he teaches a lot of stuff here because a lot of points he brings in, I was like, wow. You people are like, oh, you're so good at talking to people. I'm like, no, I just follow kind of really some basic steps I do when I'm talking to people, get them to talk. It's an art. The language of the talking is a language that you have to learn how to do, especially whether you're trying to run your own business or not. If you're an employee and you're trying to get a better paying job or anything, or you're going for an interview, how you talk and how you communicate yourself echoes to all aspects of life. So these books I mentioned are not just business books. These are books for life. Sorry, my nose is stuffed up. One of my other favorite books I got in business at one point, we had a book of the month club that we did. And this one was called Just Blow It Up by Dixie Gillaspie. The Gillaspie. Really good book. It's cool because even though there's a lot of chapters, maybe 2 or 3 pages and boom, you're in the next chapter. For me, that's encouraging. It's oh great, I'm almost done. And it gives me a form of completion to get through chapters. So I'm going to keep that in mind one day when I start actually working on my book. Make these chapters kind of small, somewhat, so I can keep people actively going through it. Not everyone's like me. But this one was really cool because one of the main points that I got from this book, the point that I got from Just Blow It Up was that people will give you encouragement. They might give you motivation. They might give you kind of their personal thoughts and opinions. And so they contribute this book and they're talking about imagine that's a brick that someone's giving you. That's cool that you want to, step out your own job, but you got bills to pay. What about, that's a brick. You got kids. What about your livelihood? What about your benefits? They're giving you bricks in your life, and eventually those bricks become a wall. You just need to get to the point where I'm going to listen to what you're saying. I like the brick that you gave me, but I'm going to toss it out. I ain't got time to listen to it because you're creating a wall that and some people don't really know that they're doing that. They're just being loving and caring and thing. They want the best for your life. But as something I remember hearing from one of my mentors in real estate, he's talking about sometimes people are so scared of dreams and things like that they put their fears onto somebody else. And if you are not solidified on who you are and what you're trying to go for, you might believe that fear and attach it to your life. There's a great story that comes with that. I'll tell that later. But I love this one because in this book, there's so many quotes, and I'm such a quote junkie. I love quotes. One of the favorite quotes I got up here from John David Mann. He says, the passion is the fuel that gets you there. The vision is simply the map. That's one of my things I like the most about this book. There's so many quotes that they put in each of the sections before he even begins it. So that was one I just wanted to take time to just share it real quick. Then we start getting into some of these other success ones. Another small book myself I like. This one is by George Clason. If you've read this book or you've heard of it, you want to check this out. It's The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a really small... It's really not that long of a read. I won't say the vocabulary is not that bad. It's not like some people who are throwing out extroverted words or anything. This is a pretty simple read to go through. But the reason I like this is talking about this one gentleman who was considered as the richest man in Babylon, and someone actually takes the time to ask him, how did you accumulate your wealth? I don't want to give away the book or anything like that because it's a great book for good applications that are applied to today. And that's one thing I really do like about this book. And one, like I said, is small, so you can get a chance to go through it. I need to actually finish this book. I have a bad habit of getting through a book all right, this is fun. All right, let's go into another one. So I'm trying to stay consistent and just finishing one book before I jump to another book right now. Of course, you guys have probably heard me talk a lot about one of the books I'm currently reading right now. I'll talk about that one in a second, actually. Sorry. One of my favorite books I actually liked, and it's so funny, a lot of people were going to be like, oh, you like this book because of recent presidential elections, but it was actually from Donald Trump. This book is called, Why We Want You to Be Rich by Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. I absolutely love this book. It got me a chance to understand the mind of Donald Trump alone, because I've read so many books from Robert Kiyosaki. Like, I could preach to you real quick what his mindset is because I've read so many of his books. I know where his mindset. I know what he's so passionate about because I listen to not only listen to his Audible books. I don't only listen to his reading material. I also listen to his radio show. I consistently like listening to Robert Kiyosaki as he keeps you up to date on just some of the basic things that's going on when it comes to finances and whatnot, and how to kind of get things lined up. But this book really gave me a good snapshot into understanding the mind of Donald Trump. And I know presidential speaking, we were looking at a whole other factor, but when it comes to business, this man knows his stuff for business. And you really see he has a passion when it comes to teaching and educating people. So I have to prompt to say this was a really good book. And yes, I did complete this whole entire book because I could not put it down. And so it was really good being able to go through this book and diving into points about understanding business, he goes into the cash flow quadrant a little bit, but understanding the mindset. I mean, we're talking about someone who's a millionaire versus someone who's a billionaire. So you have two brilliant minds brainstorming into a solid book. So yes, that was a great book to read. And I hate to say it, but I love to say it, but Donald Trump, he brings a lot of great books. It's good for changing your mindset to get you start thinking things from a business perspective. So if if you're not too politically jacked up, definitely check out some of his books because he does bring up some solid stuff, and I can't shoot that down. Then, of course, the current book I'm going through right now is The Millionaire Success Habits. I'm like on chapter 3 of this book, so as you can tell, I'm still slowly going through this because he's pouring so many values and habits that I have applied today that I'm constantly adding into to my everyday routine. One of my videos, I keep looking at my board over here because one of my videos I want to work on next is talking about my morning ritual. Someone was asking me, what do you do on a normal day basis to get your morning start off? And I learned a lot of my good tips from this book. So yeah. So as you can see, these are just some of the many books that I have or anything like that I've either read in the past or books that I'm currently going through right now. And so you want to keep your mind focused on new and fresh information. I just had a video I posted on my Facebook recently, and it was this one gentleman, this one Asian guy who was talking about the power of books. And I love the point that he was bringing, that he's like, do you want to know why you failed at your business? This is something that his father said to him. He said, the reason that you failed, this business opportunity or failed this opportunity you're trying to do in your life is because you didn't have enough soldiers in your army. And I love the point he was bringing. It's like, for every book that you read, you're creating a brand new soldier. You're hiring a new soldier in the back. So whenever that you're thinking about like, okay, the way I think, the way I'm thinking, like, these authors that I've read, books I have already completed or things that I've already finished up in these books, I'm literally downloading them or having them by my side. So maybe this war that you're doing right now, the battle of your mind, trying to create something brand new for yourself, you probably have only read maybe 20 some books. Then this journey that you're about to go on might need you to get close to 100. It's different soldiers to defend you. You need to have new authors to come in there, constantly inundating your mind, changing your mindset and your paradigm. But anyway, I just love that quote, and I just wanted to kind of end off here talking about the books and everything that I'm reading right now. So keep on following the journey, hit subscribe, and let me know what you guys think about some of the books. I actually put the actual links on the authors' names of these books here in the bottom of the link here, so you can get a chance to check that out. Otherwise, you guys enjoy your beautiful Saturday here, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.